Narendra, to ask you the main and first question about what really meant by the cloud computing, and in because we're hearing this a lot, and I am sure that a lot of delegates sitting around the world here from the attendees listening to this webinar has heard a lot about cloud computing. So the real meaning about the cloud computing, because it has a lot of mixed understanding between several audience and several geographies. And how did it evolve and on the demand functionality so popular to the enterprises now, whether it is small to medium enterprises or large enterprises?
Okay, thank you, Mounir, for putting it all together. It's an honor to be in this webinar, and objective is quite clear, and to spread universally the knowledge that Pinnacle tool has, and of course, we're going to be discussing this interesting topic about cloud computing. Of course, there's no doubt that cloud computing today is a hot topic in the technology areas. So, if you keep it simple by saying that cloud and computing, cloud is something which is outside your house, which you don't own it, and computing is also to be able to compute, to be able to have that computing power of your own. So together, this very word actually means that to be able to enjoy the convenience of owning all the IT infrastructure, which is network, which is computing resources like high-end servers, the storage, the virtualization technologies to optimally use such resources. Together, it actually is a phenomenon which is fast catching up in the enterprise space, to be able to have access to such a heavy technology without having the burden of owning it. So in short, it actually means that you pay as you consume it's such a resources. So instead of owning the very expensive capital infrastructure equipments of IT, you have these cloud service providers which are available in the various geography markets like Google and Amazon and Azure. Microsoft are offering these cloud services to enterprise and also to internet interfacing consumer segment in various forms and flavors. So as you go, I think it is very clearly becoming like you enjoy the convenience of having the infrastructure without owning it, and it is on access-based, subscription-based basis that enterprises and consumer have started to enjoy cloud computing. I think it would be very interesting to see the relevance of cloud computing in today's times, where, of course, the spreaded up virus has thrown our lives almost like into a huge turbulence, and our normal has been hugely disrupted. But at the same time, as we are almost 1 year and we are kind of everywhere, we are trying to recover out of it, and hopefully everything is going to become normal. But from the technology standpoint, I do hope that we would not like to get to that normal as far as the technology is concerned, because this very time of almost a year, it has given to almost everybody, even the large enterprise to small and micro, a chance to reinvent its traditional IT systems and traditional business processes, to identify various areas where optimization can take place. And cloud as such offers such a great opportunity to businesses of almost all the sizes to reorient their IT infrastructure, to create an IT policy around their business systems, to become agile, to become more competitive, and stay relevant in the business by saving on the capital cost, focus on their core business where they are good at, and let technology be an enabler. It should not be something where they go on to invest huge capital into it. I think it would also be interesting to look at when we see as far back as late 70s and early 80s, when advent of computerization started. We used to have these big computers, like big mainframe computers, which used to be like almost the size of a room, sometimes size of a house. And small enterprises or small companies would not be able to afford purchasing such expensive IT equipments, and they would look at renting services to enjoy that IT power, to have that kind of IT resilience in their systems. As we went into 90s and 2000s, I think thanks to the technology innovations and particle engineering that Intel and AMD and other technology providers kept innovating, the form factor kept getting smaller and getting shrunk. We have this desktops becoming small, laptops, smartphones have come in. So the form factor has given rise to now people start to have the computing resources at their hand. And here comes this era of 2000 now, where the data explosion has happened, where again, the computation power, the computer systems are becoming short to handle that kind of a data. And they're looking at now even cloud computing, so to say, which gives them ample opportunity to optimize their IT systems and reinvent and deliver their core products and utilities and services back into the market without worrying about much on the cost. So I think when even look at services of Google, for example, we all use Google every day. We have to just get into the user interface page of Google, create our account, and we can enjoy the emailing services, even the Dropbox, OneDrive, and so many utilities are available on the fly. So this is a very good time. I think the whole industry is at the cusp of a huge transformation because of the flavors and form of cloud computing per se, where people say that it really doesn't matter where this computing power comes from, as long as they get what they want, which means the computing power. Power to be able to handle the data, to be able to process the data, to be able to manage and store the data and get it where you want it, without worrying about whether heavy, expensive IT systems are to be purchased or not to be purchased. So I think I read it in some of the research report, around 2 quadrillion bytes of data getting generated almost every day. Just for information, 1 quadrillion actually means 1,000 billion bytes. That kind of a data is getting generated every day. We consume, we like to consume, we are consuming, we are creating data content every second. We are clicking photographs, we are making selfies, we are making videos, and with the technology improving side by side from, let's say, 2G to 3G and 4G, data tariffs are falling on our internet access. So we like to produce and consume more and more data. So hence, there is a huge explosion of technology giving us such good speeds now. We used to have earlier the dial-up services, which used to be around 2 megs speed. Now in our household, we enjoy almost like 100, 200 meg speed now. So I think both the things are going side by side, and everything is going up. So I think cloud computing is a phenomenon which is here to stay. And the way we are consuming data, the way we are leveraging our experiences, I think this is going to be a key component in all our social interfaces and also our enterprise life, where work from home culture, most of our education has become online now in this time almost. I don't see anybody who would have gone to an institute to receive a piece of education where everything is online. We have Netflix, Amazon streaming tons and tons of videos every day at the click of a mere small subscription fee. We can enjoy entertainment. So while there are difficulties, and we have learned to innovate. So I think it's an interesting area that you touched. I think we have just seen small of it. There's too much to come on our way.
Sure. So, I have a small question. I mean, as a layman, so off late, cloud, like you mentioned, cloud has built a lot of frenzy around it. It's the sexy word right now. So, what are the key drivers that are pushing this demand? So, what are the main reasons? One, like you mentioned, would be the pandemic. That's definitely boosting it. But what are the other drivers that are basically pushing this demand?
Okay. I think it's quite apt for us to judge what's driving it. Of course, apart from the big data, if you look at almost around 80% of the people would actually have some level of cloud experience. Either they would have deployed some kind of a cloud for their workloads and they would have an experience and they are growing, and there is another fraternity which would have been in the process of embracing the cloud for their workloads or for their business processes. And of course there could be another chunk of those people who have cloud in their IT policies because of the immense benefits that cloud adoption actually gives them, optimizing their resilience to stand on their own, to become free from unnecessary license purchases or system purchases, or having to employ a lot of IT specialized resources, where there are specialist organizations who will do it for themselves at a subscription. So it's quite easy, one comprehensive bill for so many utilities, and there are people to give you best of breed SLAs to deliver what you want. At the same time, I think it will be also right to distinguish between various cloud types that are available in the market, which the way they deliver service to you. Private cloud is something where enterprise would actually own up all the hardware services, but on-prem there could be a third party who will manage and support and service all these systems. So this is something which is quite unique, as opposed to a public cloud where it could be a multi-tenancy arrangement where you co-live with a lot of tenants, but it's much affordable. So it mostly suits startups or who have minor workloads which are okay to do with transferring it on the public cloud. Now people do experience some requirements of being sensitive and private. So private, and there are some workloads with like web hosting, marketing, HR for that matter. They could very well go into the public. So there is a emergence of hybrid cloud as well, which gives the organization a taste of all the plus features of both the type of cloud advantages. So looking at no IT staff required as a specialist certification or license holder, you don't have to worry about OS license or upgrades or enables from time to time. You get to enjoy a platform, a system service, which is highly secure, because such cloud providers are servicing not only you, but they're servicing hundreds of customers like you. So they have a very robust, very immense, very high quality security system, and also to make it very highly available to customers like you. So, and of course, the very major benefit is the agility of it. Mostly startups in their initial stages would like to take such cloud services because of the affordability in it, and at a later time when they're out with the product and they are scaling up and the initial testing is all over, they might like to maybe go to either private, which is their own, or they might like to scale up and go to a hybrid cloud. So I think it is a good way to save money, to not to have hassles of into the management and support of your IT infrastructure from time to time, and above all, it is very green. So for anybody to move from owning a IT infrastructure to move to a cloud, I may not say that it is 100% green, because data centers are also supposed to be guzzlers of power, but pro rata basis, or of course, if you can move some workload, of course, you are turning green in a way. And of course, it makes your organization also much flexible to start looking at more innovations and more services to roll out and deploy much faster. So of course, cloud is a money saver. Cloud is a technology enabler. I think it solves two things by just one approach. Yeah.
So you said something, Narendra. Hi, Narendra. This is Sherif.
Hi.
You said something, and it's very interesting, and I guess it's interesting for all companies, not just people attending here. Affordable. You said affordable. So how affordable is affordable? because this can be a little relative, right, to the different companies, and I guess all companies, if they decide to take this move to the cloud, they would be definitely looking for some savings somehow. So again, I would ask you the question, so how affordable is affordable?
Yeah, I think there's no doubt about the cost. Cost is actually the primary driver of all the businesses. One wants to make profits, so one looks at what window it comes to us, and of course there can be many approaches. So one way could be to look at various services that such cloud adoption is able to provide. For example, in a stage one where organizations are beginning to start, and there is a requirement of having a network, have computer systems over there. They have storage, which means even the virtualization tools, which work on optimization of various IT resources, and they work on an algorithm of giving you maximum, utilizing the least. The complete orchestration could be on infrastructure as a service model. So if you look at, for example, Amazon, they are believed to be the market leaders in this space. They actually are rated in top 3. They deliver infrastructure as a service. So they come to the market as we do it all for you. Beneath the application layer, what all an organization would need to require, they would equip an organization to get a heads up to start with. And which means the entire IT systems and the virtualization tools and systems will be provided by the service provider. And of course, this will actually entail that there a great deal of expenditure savings can be possible. Now it depends on which business vertical you are in, but it certainly saves money. Another, the flavor that such cloud providers are able to deliver is a platform as a service. This is a very unique, offering by cloud providers, which means that apart from the infrastructure, even the platform, what kind of a OS should be used, what kind of database should be used, platform is ability for any customer to enjoy and develop the products. So this actually means that they can do the initial designing, the prototyping, the research, and the staging of their product, which usually takes for about a year or even longer, the speed of developing a product become much faster because there is no pre-work that is required to be done. You are ready to go right from the word. So platform as a service is also able to give you that agility to scale as you want. So once your staging development is ready, you can immediately move into a production phase. You can move your product. You can get into production immediately because you can just scale up. Let's say you can do all this in a public cloud because it's a small activity. You are just developing it. As and when you are able to, you're ready to roll out, you can use another cloud on what you want and immediately get into production. So by doing adoption of multiple flavors and the form of clouds, you become more agile and thus gives you a capability to reach to your clients much faster. So I think services are becoming much more quicker and they're becoming more customized because the kind of orchestration that is possible at a platform as a service is a very interesting area, and that's the area where maximum of the players from technology are reinventing themselves to come up with one advantage or the other. So this is about platform as a service. Not to discount on software as a service platform also in contention to these two flavor is that software as a service is also a cloud offering. Anything that you that a customer would need, client has to just bring in its data. That's it. Which means the user experience, the client facing, the business facing, the actual real content, the data is the only responsibility of the customer. Whereas all the hosting, all the provisioning, all the platform and computation requirement would all be provided by such cloud service providers. So when you see there are a number of such Amazon is one classic example of even a SaaS player. When we do e-commerce, we are able to buy products, we are able to make payments online, and somebody is hosting, making that internet facing experience for us. There is a whole lot of pillar of IT environment somebody is hosting. So that hosting is being done a cloud service provider. They give you that user experience to not only play around in the platform, what is available as an offering, but also to do even complete the transaction by even making the payments. So all the security standards for that matter, the payment specifications, so there are a whole lot of compliance and protocols that such cloud providers meet. To be able to come up with such offering. So it's an amazing time to enjoy everything. Amazon, Netflix, we enjoy the latest releases by just paying a subscription fee of a few dollars every month. I think that's too wonderful. Yeah.
So Narendra, what I was saying is that you mentioned how this give you the flexibility and efficiency that is needed, as well as the affordability of being able to have more with less and consume as you go. And this is wonderful thing. But the main issue that I always hear about, whether it is coming from a government, from institution or small to medium enterprise even, where they are talking and having some concerns about the security and that they are having their sensitive data is being on the cloud and how easy and secured this kind of information being outside. And of course, we have heard a lot about the breaching of some of the securities and so on and so forth. And this increases the the possibility and the fears of the IT professionals getting their data on the cloud. How do you address that? And in your opinion, can you share your thoughts about the data security and how it is being handled?
Yeah, of course, the maximum concentration and attention is paid to data. No doubt, when you really realize as a customer that all of your data is not in your control, it is in the hand of a third party, and of course concerns are bound to come in your mind. Yeah, but I would relate to this reality check is that when we have a lot of money, where would we go to give a custody of money? We would naturally go to a bank as an institution and deposit our money in the bank. The reason being the bank will have the best of security, the physical security, the security guards, the lockers, the biometric, the access control, the biometric recognition, and tons and tons of documentation about the personal identity and whatnot. So so banks are some let's say institutions which will go to because we rely on them because of the maximum level of security that my money will have. In the same way, I think cloud providers to information and data are also turning out to be those custodians which are going to keep the highest level of data security, not only in terms of security of data, the storage of the data, and also the integrity of data. There are technologies like multiple level of encryption, and of course firewalling is kind of is the most prevalent standard. But the key thing that can be seen is that data is very, very secure. And because your data is not only getting stored in one site, it is copied in multiple sites. So even if there's a data not available for any reason in one of the site, it can always be backed up and restored from another site because multiple copies are kept where you would not know where your data is kept, but the service SLA would actually mean that data is well protected. And of course, there are various standards which are kept for compliance reasons. I think there are data privacy laws, there is a GDPR ruling which are from region to region, from market to market, from country to country are different. Even the governments are making sure that even the data localization and the data sovereignty is well maintained even by cloud providers. I can say that even in a country like Germany, the data center was supposed to host all of their data in conjunction and in total compliance with the government of Germany. It was way back in early 2000. All this actually means is that such government regulations are a key to making sure that the data is secure, is kept in as per the regulatory privacy standards, and of course these standards are a key. For example, for credit card, financial transaction business, there are standards like PDI DSS, which is payment card, interface standards, data security standards. There are MAS, which is Monetary Authority of Singapore. There is a HIPAA standard, which is for health insurance and protection of patient information. So I think today all the cloud providers, including their data center services, are making sure that they are well compliant. They are obeying all the governance stipulated by the area, by the region in which they operate. I think there would always be concerns. And of course, it's an evolving area to maintain the data and how it is maintained. But I think with each these cloud providers are actually learning their lessons gradually. Of course, there are some challenges where we keep hearing, once in a while, once in 10 years, so there's a data leakage or there's some, compromise of data centers. So government is actually coming out to rule that within 10 days of any technology compromise or vulnerability that any cloud provider or a data center provider has noticed, it must get reported to the local government as a law. So such things are there in place, and making it sure that all the provisions, all the laws are abided by. Yeah.
A couple of points. One was in terms of the geography part, like you mentioned, it could be various banks, and every specific region has its own data privacy law. Where it will be Europe, it have the GDPR laws. You mentioned about Singapore, where they have masks. So if I were to come to a conclusion, or if I wanted your view on it, in terms of operability and interpretability, how important it is in this scenario to you actually how much important these metrics should I keep if I'm selecting a cloud service infrastructure.
Yeah, I think it's really very important because let's keep it very simple. I work with a cloud provider. I work for a cloud provider for about 1 year or 2 years, and market is I can see prices. I am able to spot some very good prices from a different cloud service provider. Or for example, my business has scaled to a height where I no longer I no longer want to work with this cloud provider, whereas regionally in this side or in this functional expertise, I want to work with another cloud provider. So to be able to move from one cloud to another is referred as a interoperability or portability. So what is important here is increasingly the open compute and open source standards are being checked so that customers should be free to any time move their workload or application or products, whatever level of engagement is from one vendor, one cloud to another. They should be able to seamlessly go. This is not only for cost reasons or for your your business area reason. It can also be that, for example, one may like to do one activity of their business in one cloud with one provider, which he is good at. I can say that when research companies they want to kind of research specifically on certain area, it is seen that Amazon comes out as a very good choice because their platform, Elastic Container Services or Kubernetes Services, is able to offer much innovations in the hand of the customer than other cloud providers. So the key over here is the ability of a cloud provider to be able to migrate a client from one cloud to another without much extra cost. This is what interoperability would mean. It should not mean that I move one app from one cloud, I move to another cloud, but I have to rebuild my application. I have to rebuild my engine and I have to do it all, starting from the framework level. No, so that's no good. It could be, it is interesting for customer to see there's no vendor lock-in. it should end up that I pay a lot of separation cost unnecessarily, and it should be at the same time operable as well from this cloud to another cloud. I think all the security tools, all the management services should work as seamlessly as it is on this cloud when I'm looking at another cloud. So I think most of the established cloud service providers are actually offering great deal of portability of their service and of their infrastructure. This is also a key while selecting a cloud provider also, because business keep changing, the services levels keep changing, your go-to-market strategy for products also keeps changing. So you should be free, clients should be free to move at any time without paying much base fee at such a migration. It should be seamless.
There's one term that we hear these days. It's called the multi-cloud, and I wonder why it's people are regarding it as tough, but most suited for other cloud models. From what you were saying, that people can swing back and forth from cloud to another. So how does the multi-cloud fit into all this?
Yeah. I think, Sherif, you put a right thing here, because usually multi-cloud is mistaken as a hybrid cloud, but this actually is not. Multi-cloud is actually a different environment. So look at most of the organizations would actually around 70 to 80%, they would have private cloud. They will also have a public cloud in their requirements, in their cloud plan. Now, but one public cloud is usually not what usually the enterprises look for. Multi-cloud would actually mean that apart from the little bit of private that an organization has, it is 2 or more public clouds that they are working on. So 80%, I can say, are the enterprises are working on 2 public clouds. So now when you have one workload on one cloud, public cloud, then another on another public cloud, how do you do the load balancing? How you do the data management? How do you modernize your how do you modernize your legacy application to be able to work seamlessly on one and another? For example, let's say one application breaks down on one cloud. It should be able to do equally well on the other cloud. But at the same time, all this has been well balanced by this newer technology, which is hardly a few years old, which is Kubernetes and container technology services from Amazon and from Azure, which actually enables for clouds to create their local clusters in different business processes and create a central level of automation for how your multi-cloud is supposed to function. This also creates a kind of a central dashboard for you to be able to see that how services are functioning and what orchestration is required in which microservice at what time, in which container, and in which cloud. So it's a massive utility which is Kubernetes. Amazon Pro does provide managed Kubernetes services along with the Elastic Container Services to bring the maximum automation in the functioning of cloud ecosystem for enterprises. In fact, you can run your let's say your security policy, run it in one place, and it can, through Kubernetes, it can map to each and every component of your ecosystem in no time, seamlessly. So I think multi-cloud is actually is an in thing. It is well embraced, and it is the flavor of the enterprises actually. So it is mostly even the people can develop and test on one cloud, and they can scale and roll out on the other cloud. So this again, I'm saying, it brings a lot of agility in your business. It would actually depend how you structure your development process, and how effectively we use the utilities and services of clouds in specific business processes. So multi-cloud is actually a utility experience to handle two or more than two public clouds. Yeah.
Narendra, we're having 5 minutes, and I have one question here, guys. If you have any more questions, please type it in the question area. I would be reading it to Narendra. Narendra, the question is related with you've been talking about the several providers, and you're saying the interoperability between providers and so on. So now, if we are and it is mainly for the small to medium enterprises, how to make the right choice on a cloud provider, and the tips that they need to make sure that they are doing the right thing.
Yeah. I think, it's not easy to choose the right provider. I have this too, based on even my experience, I have to say that, different cloud service providers would give you a different, user experience based on the functional expertise, based on the business area where they're going to be helping out the clients with. Not only that, also on the platform that they're supposed to deliver. I think it would also be interesting to see different experiences based on various geographies and markets with respect to where the client is having an end user experience, with respect to from where the services are being rendered to. I can cite one example of an experience. Let's say end user experience can be where somebody is using this service out of a data center hosted in Australia, in Sydney, compared to somebody using that same application out of, let's say, Hong Kong. The same data center hosting in Sydney will give a much delightful end user experience to a user based in Brisbane because of the low latency, because of the the edge service in a way available to a local user, based to somebody is accessing that data center from let's say Hong Kong because of the high latency. So various factors to keep in mind. I can say Amazon has been seen in the market as a very, very mature and a very organization for cloud services. Speed of innovation in Amazon is seen to be very high. But again, the downside can be that sometimes Amazon offers, there are clients who would use proprietary database of Amazon. It is all right. The scale is not so big, but it may be difficult for the customer to move to another database like MySQL in some time. It's easy. So one must be very sure of what kind of a technology roadmap the organization is keeping to see that cloud service provider also stays and keeps offering, and there is always a business value where, for example, Azure, Microsoft is very flexible and very prominent in enterprise space because of the Microsoft technologies. Deployment using Microsoft technologies may be much easier, and it might prove to be quite advantageous when you look at a hybrid cloud or AD directory kind of a systems when you're handling. And of course, the choices, then availability are massive. Salesforce today is a huge competitor in this cloud space. Google, for that matter, believes more in open compute and open platform, multi-cloud, and these approaches. So while selecting a right cloud service provider, I think that there's requirement of a good deal of due diligence. A very good knowledge of the roadmap that the company is looking at, and then have a good look at the synergy between the company and the cloud service provider to stay for long. Because company in their growing times, they create a lot of dependencies on the cloud provider, and it's not easy to move out of the partnership with the cloud so easy. So I think it's a long-term game. So due diligence is the key. Yeah.
Well, Narendra, that was absolutely interesting, and the topic itself is very highly required now with all what we're doing, working remotely and trying not to be in contact and with the trying to have the distance, and a lot of the reasons now are pushing towards the cloud computing, and knowing about it is absolutely a key element. I think this is the time for us now. Thank you so much for all the attendees being there and your questions. And I think if we missed to answer some questions in the live event, we will be sending it to you separately, the answer from Narendra directly to your mail. Thank you so much for the panel, Sherif, Youssef, and Kshitij, Prabhu, and our main speaker, Narendra. It was a pleasure having you all into this live event. Until we see you next time, next month, inshallah. Thank you so much, and goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, Mohamed. Bye. It's a pleasure. Bye-bye.